Hi, how are you? Why is that so funny?
Because that's never how we started any of our shows before.
Well,
I've never
different.
No, I know, but like you think of a podcast, there's no podcast I've ever heard that opens with hi. Like I can't think of a single podcast. I'm sure they exist, but I can't think of a single podcast I've ever watched where someone's like, "Hi." Like that's not an intro.
Well, first off, that's not how I sounded.
It kind of is though. Well, like it wasn't as effeminate, like, but it was a higher pitch than you typically carry.
Well, yeah.
So let's do that again as the intro. You do the intro like you were gonna do, and I'll try not to laugh, and Dave will try not to make fun of us while we talk.
Anyway, welcome to another show of Carry Out Conversations. My name is John.
I'm Dave.
I'm Noah.
And it is so good to have you guys here with us. And just having some good old
Am I
times.
supposed to not like laugh every 10 seconds with the stuff you guys do? That's the most challenging thing about doing
But
this
what
podcast.
do
That's
we
the most
do, though?
No,
That's
but
the
like
thing.
the way you talk.
I talk normal.
Generally, but that's why that section was funny to me, at least, is because you rarely talk like that.
Okay, well, first, last time you started laughing at me because apparently I had a grunt in my voice when I started the show.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, because we started like the whole like Tim the Toolman thing. You're like, yeah, you got like a grunt to you when you started. And now I change it up, and you can't like that either.
You over-adjusted. Went from Darth Vader to My Little Pony.
What?
Look, okay, no. I'm not trying to slight you, John. I care for you dearly, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I just thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we talking about today, bud?
Now I don't want to talk about it.
Well, we're here, so we gotta talk about something. If you don't want to talk about it, we'll pick something else to talk about. But
It's something he doesn't want to do, man.
Yeah, I just don't want to do it.
Are you
So,
guys serious right now?
Yes.
So about doing things you didn't want to do.
Yes, doing things we don't want to do. I know. Before we really get started, we do have a bit of an issue that I will bring up. There have been a couple of instances on past episodes where we have said things untrue, I guess. We kind of got our facts mixed up a little bit. Nothing serious, but we do have to. I do want to bring it up and just say that it's like we are not intentionally trying to misinform people. We tend to we are very unscripted, if you can't tell. We are very unscripted, and so a lot of times we will say things as they pop up. And we will get things wrong sometimes.
Yep.
It's not an intentional. For instance, the previous episode of this one, I was trying to talk about Madeline O'Hare, which was the woman that fought to take prayer out of the schools, and instead I referenced Catherine O'Hara, which was the mom from Home Alone.
Well, actually, she was also in Beetlejuice, so that makes perfect sense. She knows about Beetlejuice.
She's trying to get rid of prayer so she can bring Beetlejuice back.
Yes, exactly.
But aren't you praying to Beetlejuice when you do that?
No, not me. I don't pray to Beetlejuice.
I would hope not. Now that we said it 3 times, he's going to show up.
Well, no,
But it
we
has
didn't,
to be
we didn't
said,
say it in a
spoken,
row.
unbroken.
We didn't say
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, and then the third, and then the third one. I don't want him coming in here causing a ruckus.
That would be the best podcast ever. We should get him.
An
That really
interview with
would be kinda
Beetlejuice.
cool.
Well, that's the definition of not wanting to do what you should do is him.
What?
Well, no, because think okay,
Oh, okay.
because he
No,
causes.
I see what you're.
'cause he causes issues.
Yeah, I
He gets
see
in the
where
way.
you're going.
Like, you really think you'd be productive if Beetlejuice was sitting right, like every day at work? Beetlejuice is sitting right next to you doing his thing. You think you're gonna get stuff done?
That would be the best job ever.
It would be
I'd
kind of
still
cool.
get paid.
It'd be great for the first 3 days, but you have to do the work that you have to do, and he would get in the way of that. So,
But
like,
it's no different than working with half the people that we work with now,
yeah,
or did work with.
Mm-hmm.
to give them credit.
Well, I mean, you notice I'm
To give
only looking at
Beetlejuice,
you, though, right?
to give Beetlejuice credit, he's better than them.
Well, actually, I don't think I've ever actually just watched Beetlejuice.
I just
I've always
watched
seen
it the
clips
other
of
week,
it.
actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've always seen
It's a
clips
movie.
of it on like. I know it's a movie.
I know there's a second one that like they've already.
What?
Yeah,
that
they-
I haven't
they
heard
have-
of.
They've talked about the second one. They are bringing
They're using the same actor.
same actors. No, Renona Wider. Renona.
Winona.
I cannot say her name.
Winona Ryder.
Yes, I cannot say her name. But she's going to be back. Michael Keaton's going to be back. And they are bringing in Jenna Ortega, unfortunately.
Boo.
Yes.
Boo.
Okay. Jenna Ortega has her moments, but now that she is like the it actress where they are literally just putting her in everything, it's just kind of like, all right, I'm ready to move on.
I feel like I'm the only one in the world who didn't watch that stupid Wednesday Addams show. Like, I feel like that's a show that didn't need to happen.
I
Like,
never saw it.
What's like talk about not doing what you should do. Do a show on the Addams Family, fine, but don't do one just on a pointless character nobody ever cared about.
Well, see, that's the thing is she's the one that everybody thinks of. Like, you don't think of Pugsley because Pugsley, even in the movies, he was just never really. He didn't really have much going on.
Mhm.
I think of Beetlejuice.
Well, if he was part of
Beetlejuice isn't in the
family.
Addams Family.
Can you imagine if he was, though?
I think they would just kill him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think they'd just beat the crap out of him because they'd be like, "You're annoying, and we're stronger than you."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. What's the hand thing?
He's the best character, in my opinion. I love him.
He played an important role in the show. I did watch the show. It was okay.
Yeah,
It was okay.
I think
It's-
it's nostalgic for me. That's probably why I like it.
Yeah.
Growing up watching the reruns,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Because my mom used to watch like Little House on the Prairie and the Waltons, and all those like rerun channels would have like that on there.
Yeah.
So.
Can you imagine Little House on the Prairie with Beetlejuice?
No, well, Little House on the Prairie, like talk about getting work done. Like that Charles from Little House on the Prairie is a man's man. Every episode, he's like solving an economic crisis with his bare hands.
It's very true.
Dude
He
is
was.
awesome.
He was.
Talk about positive masculine role models.
Yeah, we don't talk about that nowadays.
Well, that dude, I would do a whole podcast just on how awesome Charles Ingalls is. Like, if you like,
I never got into that show, honestly.
yeah. Well,
I did.
so you
I
gotta don't worry about the episodes that have to do with the kids. They don't matter. But like, it doesn't matter. But like the episodes that are centered around the parents and like the town itself, those are quite interesting. Like they're like yeah, and there's a lot of fights in that show. Like a lot of good fights.
Yes.
Like if you watch the right episodes, like in the right order, you'd think it's a battle anime.
Goodness. My thing about those shows, like Little House on the Prairie, The Waltons,
Pick one.
You know, any of those types of shows. My issue are the different characters that just randomly pop up and then they're gone.
They never show up again.
Yeah. Like there's so many one of the most well-known ones is there were 3 children in the Cosby Show. There was the youngest one, there was the boy, and then there was a girl, like right in between. Halfway through, like I think after the first or the second season, she just disappears and you never hear about her again. And it was just so weird because it was like, what happened? But they don't mention it. And I know that there was, you know, tension behind the scenes of what was going on and yeah, some very not nice things got said, but it was just one of those things like where she was there and then suddenly just boom, she wasn't. Tell you something else that they should not do, and this kind of gets right into our show, is they don't need to replace actors or actresses with people that don't resemble
Yeah.
the people that they're replacing.
Yeah.
Like for instance, there was a show, Last Man Standing.
Oh yeah.
I love that show. Like I love it.
I only watched like through the first or through the second season, I think.
See, the first season was okay. It gets better after the second. Like after the first season, it gets better. But one of the biggest things is the oldest daughter in the first season is this short, skinny little chick.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second season, she's grown 3 feet. She's, and I don't mean this wrong. She's a little bit more,
She gained a person.
yeah. And I mean, it's just like she's completely different.
It's called Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing.
you haven't heard of that show?
I think I've heard of it. I just don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, it has Tim Allen in it.
Oh,
It's essentially just like Home Improvement.
Yeah,
but with
I don't
girls
think that's
this time.
I don't think that's talked about enough. It is basically the same show.
Yeah.
Tim Allen raising a family, this time with girls instead of boys.
Mm-hmm.
And oh yeah, there's a segment of the show where he sits and rants about something,
Yes.
just like he used to do on Tool Time. It's the same show.
It's
And
ran
what's
for
funny about
so
it?
long.
What's funny about it is they actually make references to that. Like they bring in Jonathan Taylor Thomas, which was the middle child for
Yeah, I
for Home
remember.
Improvement. They bring him in a couple of times, and he kind of makes mention, like he does like certain little things where he's all about cars, and he kind of has like a moment with Tim Allen. They bring in the guy, and I cannot remember his name, but they bring in Al.
Richard Karn.
Richard Karn. And
He hosted Family Feud for a while. Or was it Family Feud or was it
Yes.
the other one?
Yeah, it was Family Feud.
Okay.
And one of the funny things that he says, like during one of the episodes that he's in, is he meets up with Tim, and they're like best friends with each other, like they haven't seen each other in a while. And he looks at him and he goes, "I thought you had boys." And I mean, it was just like one of those episodes where it's like it was
Okay.
perfect for for that.
But they didn't bring back Wilson? Or did they?
He died before.
Oh. Well,
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
died.
know that.
Yeah, he died a few years before that.
Tim Allen. I just looked because I was looking up his the show, how long it was running. He's 69 years old.
Yes,
I for some reason in my mind I'm like, oh, he's 45.
and he's still
Like-
kicking.
Like, yeah.
He's still. I still think he's funny, but anyway, we are just getting right into our show here. It is so good to have you guys with us,
Yep.
and it's funny because we're sitting here, we're talking about this, and honestly, now I don't even want to get into the topic that we're going to talk about.
I mean, we can get in the topic, or we could just
We can just derail
we
the
could just
conversation.
derail the
again.
conversation and talk
Like
about
we always do.
Well, think about it. We're like what 15 minutes in right now.
Yeah, just about 14
Yeah, so
and
we're
a
like
half.
15 minutes in. Why don't we just talk about Home Improvement for?
Oh my god.
No, but like, okay. Well, here's the thing. What have we been talking about so far? Dads of cinema.
Okay.
Let's talk about dads of cinema.
But
All
that
right.
wasn't the show topic.
Well, it is now.
It is now. Yeah. Awesome.
It is now.
Okay, so my parenting goals if I ever have a kid would be Darth Vader. He is the best dad.
Yes, because he
Yeah,
did
he
such a-
choked out his kid after. Well, I mean, he did the right thing because his son had an incestuous kiss, and so then he beat the crap out of his son. So yeah, Darth Vader's a good dad.
He just wants to rule the galaxy with his son. He wants to spend time with his kid.
Yeah, but you know what? No, I'm pro Empire. This is great. Do it. Darth Vader's great.
So, something that you were mentioning about Darth Vader, I saw a video and I thought it was hilarious. I can't remember if I sent it to you or not. But it's almost like it was the end of the original Star Wars trilogy. And Luke is sitting there and there's like Ghost Yoda and Ghost Obi-Wan and Ghost Anakin. And they're all like talking to him and like, "Oh, we're proud of you," blah blah blah, And Luke's like, "Thanks, Dad. I'm glad you came back as like your older, more mature self and stuff like that."
Oh, you're referencing how it should have ended. I just saw that
Was
video
it?
earlier today.
And the Anakin was like, well, I could do this, and like he gets down to like the younger, like the
Now this is pod racing.
Yeah, well, he starts like the episode 3
Yeah.
part of it, and then they're like, no, we can't do that, and then he drops down like even lower to like the little kid,
Young Anakin.
and Yoda's like, please stop, basically, and so he pops back up. Well, then they're like, oh, I'm just so glad it's just us 3, and blah blah blah, and then all the younglings pop up,
Oh no.
and Yoda's like, awkward this is.
Awkward this is. Well, so like I think you can actually make a point for Vader being a good dad, because Vader is not just a dad to Luke, okay? He's the
Yeah, he's a dad to Leia as well.
Okay, I don't care about her. Her characterization is horrible, and I don't care. I have a really hot take. I think Rey's character development is better than Leia's. Oh, I said it. Yeah, George Lucas and Star Wars, they just don't know how to write most women well, if I'm being honest. They did well with Ahsoka and like Sabine and like some of these other characters.
Yeah, because both of those characters were created by
Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
But like Lucas and company and like these other directors they bring in, they flop.
No, it's a widely known fact that the best Star Wars movies are the ones that George Lucas had the least amount of involvement in.
Yeah,
Yes.
most things related to Star Wars, when George Lucas doesn't touch them, they turn out better.
Yeah. Well, the thing about George Lucas is he is stuck in the 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
He's stuck where, and this is kind of the topic that we're getting into now of, the men are the dominant and the women are just kind of like the background character.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that like it's correct.
I mean, I would kind of agree with that. I mean, one of Leia's... I mean, in the very first movie, Leia takes charge of her own rescue.
Well, yes,
And then they put her in a
but you got to think about it. Like you've got Leia compared to Luke and Han Solo and even Chewbacca, which then you got Yoda. I mean, it's like you've got an all male presence, and then you've got one.
Sure.
Well,
The place I was going with it was Darth Vader, as a ruler, has a responsibility to be a father to the galaxy. Okay? Now, here's the thing. If him and Luke joined forces, he would have been a better father to the galaxy than Palpatine, because think about what Luke did in the new movies. He tried to kill Kylo Ren because he thought he was going to be evil. Well, if he was already evil, he wouldn't have cared. And then the First Order wouldn't have happened because there wouldn't have been the Republic beating the Empire. And so they wouldn't have to kill all those billions of people on all those rebel planets. So if Darth Vader joined with Luke, billions and billions of lives would have been saved by an Imperial victory, okay? But you guys want your freedom so much from the Empire that you think your freedom matters more than billions of alien lives.
yes.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah, so Papa Vader for the win.
I just like how it's automatically Star Wars and genocide. It's like those are like the two main points of almost all of our shows.
No. Well, it's because there's a lot. Okay, guys, there's a lot of genocide in Star Wars.
Well, yeah,
like a lot.
People don't care about them.
Well, like what?
Because they didn't have good dads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So the galaxy
That's it.
needs dads.
I mean, if there were not Mars needs moms. They can take them.
But Star Wars galaxy needs dads.
Yeah, Star Wars needs dads. Because I mean, we see what happened to Kylo Ren.
Daddy issues.
He had daddy issues, major daddy issues.
Yes.
One of the weirdest things about the
Even so much that he kills his dad.
One of the weirdest things about the books, like some of the Star Wars books about the Old Republic, is they'll just be like, there was this planet with all these like billions of creatures on it, and they just got wrecked, and they're not around anymore. Next, and it'll just get the next, and it'll just move on. Like that whole civilization being wiped out doesn't
It
matter.
just doesn't matter.
So, but
Well, again, if there weren't so many daddy issues in Star Wars, then and maybe that's the reason why George Lucas wrote all of the dads like that. Maybe he has his own daddy issues.
what is one dad in fiction, that you like look up to?
Huh.
Like not that you just like, oh, this guy's cool, but like that you would want to in some way model yourself after.
John Walton.
That's a good answer.
To have that many kids and not lose your mind.
Well, he does a lot though.
Yes,
Not
but
all. Not often.
he doesn't. He
though.
doesn't lose his mind. He's more like he's very calm in the show, unless it's
Something
needed.
serious. Yeah.
But he's very calm and collected even during that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact of you have that many kids getting in that much trouble in each and every episode, you're just like, there's always a life lesson,
Mm-hmm.
and not like the whole Brady Bunch life lesson, which I could not stand.
What was the lesson of the Brady Bunch? Be white and
never-
happy, like.
Well,
Whatever feel good thing they were thinking of that week.
And see, that was the thing, is like with the Waltons, okay, and this is the way that I grew up, so I'm probably going to get a lot of like disagreement on this with some people. The way that I grew up, you get in trouble, you get punished.
Sure.
I mean, and that's the way John Walton was. Like he disciplined his children in a way that it taught them the values of life. You move forward to the Brady Bunch, and they will murder somebody, and then it's like, well, as a family we have to come together, and we have to be one with each other.
I wanna
and we
see
should
that.
never try to do this.
I want to see that episode of the Brady Bunch.
And then Darth Vader comes in.
Oh gosh. Well, okay, there was the episode where they went to Hawaii.
Okay.
And there was the whole, they took the, have you not seen that episode?
I'm not like caught up on Brady Bunch lore.
Okay.
Sorry.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think I've seen a single episode either.
Okay,
I've seen
there
an
was an
episode of
episode
Brady
where they
Bunch,
went to Hawaii. They even made it into the second Brady Bunch movie. Made it all around this episode where there was some magic totem that one of the kids ended up stealing, and it brought nothing but like bad fortune and bad luck to everybody that he was around. And at the very end of the episode, the dad was like, instead of you shouldn't steal, it's, well, we make our own luck, and you can't take this 1,000-year-old totem as something to take serious. This is something sacred to these people, but we make our own problems and we make our own luck. So I love you, son. And that was it. And I cannot stand when that stuff happens.
I want to see an ending like that, but with Darth Vader and Luke and Leia. Like,
Don't steal the totem, Luke.
well, watch Toy Story 2 and you'll get that.
oh yeah, that's right.
They do bring that up.
I was actually with you. Well, I was actually agreeing with the guy until you said this is sacred to them. Because at that point I was like, I don't care. But I thought the message was going in the direction of like, don't be a pagan. They worship false gods.
No.
Because that would have been based.
But see, that's the thing, is like that is something, and growing up the way that I did, I can relate more to the Waltons than I can the Brady Bunch.
I don't think anyone can relate to the Brady Bunch.
There are people
Who's that Wonder Bread? Like who have you ever like? Are we talking about like someone who wrote a book about Mormonism and one of them came to life from the book? Like, what are we talking about here? These people don't exist. These people don't, like, their biggest problems are like how blonde their hair is going to be that day. And they're like, I'm convinced that the parents of the Brady Bunch, like, don't even have like sexual organs. Like, they're just like so.
Jeez.
They're like,
We're gonna go there. Huh?
no, we are, because like they're so.
I want to see an episode of
boring.
the Vader Bunch.
They're so
goodness.
boring. Like, I'm sorry. There was nothing good about, like, entertaining about that show, in my opinion.
It's the story of a man named Vader.
Yeah, the music also sucked. What, like, I'm supposed to believe that, like, this, like, wuss of a dad is, like, leading some hip-hop, like, not hip-hop, but, like, some, like, vocal group with his kids who are in high school and middle school, and that they're, like, on this popular show.
I think that was the Partridge Family.
There is a Partridge Family, but they did, in the
Oh,
Brady
they did
Bunch,
that?
they did do a
Oh,
a
wow.
band themselves. Yeah.
No, they're not the Jackson 5. They're the Vanilla 5.
Now, if
like,
you
this
want to
is
talk about
horrible.
a dad,
The Jackson 5?
Jackson 5 dad.
No, we're talking about good dads from cinema. We're not talking about should be jailed dads from real life.
See, I still want to model myself after Darth Vader.
Of course you do. It's always
You want to
the
have a breathing disability and try to kill your kid?
I mean, okay, when the Emperor was trying to kill his kid, he stepped in, but he also taught Luke manners because
That's my kid to choke.
he didn't step in until Luke said, "Please."
That can't be your opinion. I know you too well. You can like
Oh goodness.
okay,
So he was teaching his son manners,
so other than Darth
but he protected his son in the end.
Okay, other than Darth Vader, who is a dad in film or cinema or fiction? We can make it broader, like a comic book or whatever, that you would want to model yourself after, like genuinely.
No, Darth Vader cannot be the answer.
No, like we're vetoing that because that was too funny. Like your genuine, but your genuine answer.
We'll have to come back to me. I'll have to think about that for a second.
All right.
Okay.
Noah.
I didn't think of one. Dang it, this is bad. It's bad. This is real bad.
But I'm supposed to come up with an answer.
Yeah, well, like because all my
that
answers,
isn't Darth Vader.
because like all that's coming to mind right now is Warhammer, and every dad in Warhammer is a horrible person.
There aren't a lot of dads in
There's
fiction.
not a lot of because they kill him off. It's like part of the hero's journey. Is like the story starts and your dad is dead.
Because even Spider-Man. Well, first of all, Spider-Man's parents are out of the picture for whatever reason, and then Uncle Ben, gets killed.
And then he taught Peter how to make rice and everything.
Oh, is that where that comes
Yeah.
from?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that in Spider-Man canon? Uncle Ben's rice.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
It should be.
Well, Uncle Ben is like, I don't know. I always found Uncle Ben annoying. 'Cause,
With
like,
great power comes great responsibility.
It's like, yeah, shut up. Like,
Well, but he's trying to teach Peter a valuable lesson.
yeah, but he got wrecked.
Not on purpose.
Well, he could have been stronger.
He should
The
have
dude
had
was like 70 years old.
He
How
shoulda
could he have
had a
been
gun.
stronger?
Well, I mean, look, his nephew is Spider-Man, so maybe he should take after his nephew.
Jeez.
No, but I think when it comes to fictional like dads, like father figures, I think of Kakashi from Naruto. I don't know if everyone listening will know who that is.
I don't even know who that is.
Do you know who it is?
I've never seen it. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's like it's Naruto's master, the guy who trains him. Naruto doesn't have a dad. Sasuke's dad, who's another guy he trains in the show, is also dead. So he is a surrogate father figure for them. And one of the things that he does is he's very patient, but he's a veteran, right? He was a child soldier, and now he's still like an adult soldier. And he does a good job of keeping his baggage and trauma away from them and using the lessons he learned from it to protect and guide them. And I think that, I'm not a father, but everyone in their life has some amount of baggage and difficulty that they have to protect their children from.
Mm-hmm.
And he exemplified that for me. Even though he's not their biological father in that surrogate father role, he exemplified that. And then throughout the show, as they grow up and they make mistakes, he views it as him not protecting them properly from the world. And I think that's something a lot of parents feel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like very real and visceral,
So
but
relatable, yeah.
But it's also a really good example because he does a good job of doing it, even if he doesn't do a perfect job. So yeah, that's just watch Naruto. It's really long, but watch it. So
Okay. Also, listen to our podcast.
yeah, listen.
Yes.
Even though if you're hearing this,
You
you're
who is
already
li-
listening to our podcast.
You
listen
who are
to it
listening,
more.
listen.
So I came up with a dad. I think
Sounds like you were just like, so there's this dad I made up in my head just now.
no. You guys will know who he is. All right. I think this is a good answer. Marlin.
Hmm.
Finding Nemo.
I hard disagree.
Okay. Let me make my case.
Okay.
So, okay. Marlin's very reserved and very neurotic about things at the beginning of the movie, right?
Sure.
Can you speak into the mic?
Yeah,
when
sorry. I'm looking up fish facts.
Okay, facts don't matter here. We're talking about
Talking about fish fatherhood. The stats matter, man. Make your case.
All right. Whoa. Okay. I just bumped my microphone. All right. So, but he basically stops at nothing to find his son, and along the way, he learns a lot of things. He learns to be a better person. He learns how to open up. He learns how to actually make connections with other people. And I think that's something a lot of us can relate to, myself included, especially. So if I wanted to model myself after someone, I would model myself after him, because I also need to go on a similar journey of self-discovery. Mm-hmm. And after all is said and done, he was a determined father to find his son. Nothing would stop him, and he went through a lot in that movie.
I'll give you that, because yeah, I mean,
can't speak for Finding Dory. I watched it once. I can't even remember how it went.
It's the exact same, but switched around.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Dory gets lost, and then Nemo and Marlin go to
Dory's
find her.
always lost.
Very true.
Even when she's right there, she's lost.
That's like really sad. Yeah. But like, okay, so the thing with Marlin is he is very persistent. He is going to the ends of the earth, literally, for his son as this, and even he himself is very weak.
Is Sydney, Australia, the ends of the earth?
Yeah.
It might as well be.
That's where it ends, as far as I'm concerned. The rest of it's just penguin territory. We don't want to mess with them.
Penguins are awesome.
Yeah, they also have tanks.
Their dads are awesome. We want to talk about a good dad.
Happy
Penguin
Feet.
dad.
Happy Feet.
I haven't seen Happy Feet.
Oh, that's good.
It's a really good movie.
Like
also, Surf's Up is good. I want to go away. No, but
yes.
But okay, so the one big point against Marlin is, what is the survival rate on his sons?
Bad.
Okay, that was not his fault.
Yes,
though.
it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No.
Uh-huh.
They could not stop the fact of, the Barracuda coming in and just completely annihilating his family lineage.
Good song, Barracuda.
Barracuda.
That is why they put the kids in an anemone, okay? Or whatever. That's what it's called, right? An anemone, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but so those things sting. So he found one that didn't work.
Again.
And put his kids in there.
Again, not his fault, because he was not the only one that lost children or that lost family, because he lost his wife during that time too.
Yeah, his wife sucks too.
No, he went to protect them, and something happened. He ended up getting hit, ended up getting knocked out.
Yeah.
And so because of that, his family was left vulnerable. And this goes back to what Dave was saying about being the good dad, is that he tried. Even though, he didn't succeed properly, he tried his hardest to save his family from this Barracuda and ultimately lost. But that also is why he closed himself off and was so protective over Nemo, because that was his last hope. That was his, Nemo was
A New Hope.
Oh gosh.
I'm just saying.
Again with the Star
I'm
Wars.
just saying. If you look, I get what you guys are saying, and I actually agree with you. But I'm just saying we need to be honest about the stats. So how many fish eggs does a goldfish lay? I looked it up.
Well, if it's not a goldfish,
He's a clownfish.
Sorry, 1 second.
Now it's gonna change. Now it's gonna change his perspective.
Wait, actually, depending on the stats I read, it might be much worse.
Oh goodness.
So because clownfish are bigger, right?
Not necessarily. Clownfish are generally kind of small. Goldfish grow to the size of the tank.
Yeah,
okay.
I had a goldfish once. He was about 4 inches long.
Yeah. Depending on the tank that you put them in, they grow differently.
So somewhere between 200 and over 1,000, depending on. Okay, so let's lowball. Let's say 200. Mm-hmm. His odds of survival for his children are 1 in 200.
Again,
on the low end.
Again, not his fault.
Okay, wait. All right, hear me out. Let's put this in context, okay? For a human, if I was watching 200 babies, okay, right, in my house, And some gunman came in and started popping them. I can't save more than one.
What if Anakin Skywalker walks in?
Dude, I have a gun.
He's Anakin Skywalker. He has the Force.
Oh, the Force is like the worst power ever, bro. I have a gun. I'll shoot Anakin with a 50 cal. He'll try and block it with his lightsaber, and even if it cuts the bullet in half, it'll go through him.
Jeez. Anyway, so
Where were
we
we?
want to talk about good dads.
That wasn't Marlon is a good dad.
Yes.
He's just his kids aren't good at staying alive. Okay, and I'm saying that's a factor.
Actually, I kind of want to bring up another point. Marlon's kind of a jerk to Dory multiple times throughout the movie, but
Wouldn't you be?
that's kind of what stress does. That's the point I'm making.
Right.
Is you don't have to be a perfect person or a perfect dad, and sometimes no matter how hard you try, you will fail.
Yes.
That's a fact of life. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
You can be a good dad without being perfect.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
Well, and a lot of times the best dads are the ones that admit that know they're not perfect.
yeah, the ones
and
that
don't
can
try
recognize
to be.
that.
Yes.
well, if you're not aware of your imperfections, you're not going to try and change to be better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And and that's the thing that is the whole story arc about Finding Nemo. And to all of our listeners, I really hope by now you have watched Finding Nemo. If not, then we
What
have
year
just
did that come out?
completely given away the plot. You would be surprised. There are people who haven't seen, The Wizard of Oz.
I think that was
There-
2003. That movie might be 20 years old.
A lot of people
Possibly.
haven't seen like Lion King. Which
But yeah, there are
blows
a
my
lot of people
mind.
who haven't
Ooh,
seen
Mufasa's a good dad.
Mufasa is a really good dad.
No, he also got murked.
Protecting his son. Do you not see
No,
do you
no.
not see the issues here? Okay.
No,
here's-
actually,
here's
Mufasa's a
something.
better dad than Marlon because he has
he
a
only
higher
has one
survival
son.
rate, and his son lived.
Do you not see a correlation here?
Yeah, even Darth Vader was protecting his son in the end. So
The dads,
But he didn't die.
the dads with sons are the ones that have the problems.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You got Marlin
okay.
and Nemo. You've got Mufasa and Simba. You've got Darth Vader and Luke.
Well, like the problem with Mufasa though is he was in a position of power, so he was a target, and so was Darth Vader.
Yes.
Marlon had no reason why he would be.
Marlin was just a little punk. I mean, not
See,
Marlin,
now you're on my side.
Not
Let's go-
Marlin.
yeah.
Nemo. That's what I meant. Nemo was just a little punk. The whole thing would not have happened if Nemo would have just stayed on the reef instead of going to touch the butt like he wanted to so many times. And yes,
I know that's exactly what they said in the movie, but I
Yes.
was not expecting you to say that.
The problem I have with that scene is that scene makes
the butt.
no, that scene makes no sense because Nemo swims over to this massive ship that's probably like doing shrimp gathering or something. This absolutely massive ship, and one dude with a baggie who just happens to be in the water goes.
Well, it
Clunk,
wasn't.
clunk.
It wasn't a massive ship. It was just a boat.
Yeah, it was like a fishing boat.
Yeah.
No, it was a big boat.
No, it was just a fishing boat.
No. It was big. It was too big for that.
It had an outboard motor. How big do you think it was?
Fishing boat Nemo.
Oh goodness.
Our research team, everybody.
Yes. But see, okay, while he's looking up this little part that doesn't matter,
Huge.
it looks big because all you see is the underwater. You only see it compared to Nemo and
Yeah.
the little squid and whatever else there was. There's so many other ones.
You're right.
Um,
It is a fishing boat.
yeah, it was just a fishing boat.
Yeah.
But why are they going after Nemo?
Because it was so far out there.
They were trying to find an exotic fish, and clownfish are exotic.
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
I mean, they make 1,000 every time they have sex. How exotic can they be?
Well, given your ratio of
Yeah, given
1
the
and
survival
200,
rate.
No,
Yeah.
that's not the general survival rate. That's Marlin's survival rate. He's a
mean-
bad dad.
But that's the thing. People like clownfish, and they want, especially it's an exotic wild caught. People will pay a lot of money for that.
Yeah, especially dentists who make too much.
Yes. Yes.
Are you talking about P. Sherman, who lives at 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney?
You know his address.
It's repeated 20 times in the movie. It's easy.
Why
to
do you know
remember.
how many times it's repeated?
I was exaggerating. I doubt it's 20.
Attention.
He's just like watching the movie with a notepad. 1,
But moving on, because you brought it up, and penguins happen to be my favorite animals.
Okay.
That is something of that's not normal in any spread of the imagination. Is penguins are the ones where the dads take care of the children.
Okay.
Once an egg is laid, the female lays the egg, the dad will stay behind and take care of that egg until it's hatched. The mom is the one that goes out and hunts and brings back food. Which to me, it's one of those things where it's like, that's something that I really like about them, because it's not the traditional role, like what you think of, it's like, well, the dad should be out working and the mom should be home and blah, 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 It's the fact that the dad is dedicated to that egg. And I mean, outside of Happy Feet, like what we were talking about, where he, accidentally drops the egg and, that type of thing. A male penguin will fight to the death to protect that egg. And the fact that penguins are life mates means, that's something else that is entirely, it's entirely different subject, but it's something that makes me respect penguins even more.
But I respect penguins.
They're amazing. Like, they are amazing creatures. They stink, but they are amazing.
Why do they
animals.
stink? What do you mean they stink?
Oh, they smell really
literally
bad.
yes.
Yeah, they really smell.
I bet they don't mind.
No, well, of course they don't.
Otherwise, they would have developed showers.
Yeah. Hey, penguins, haven't you heard of showers?
You spray them with a hose.
Yes.
All right, so let's move it. Okay, we've talked about dads that we want to model ourselves after.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. If you could meet, no, not Darth Vader. If you could meet one father, fictional. We'll start off fictional.
Dave, say Palpatine. He's technically a dad.
Technically, I was going to go with Han Solo, though.
Oh.
Okay. Well, if you could meet one father, fictional father, who would it be and why?
Have to think about that one for real.
Because that's the thing, it's like we talk about it, and we kind of made mention where, there are in a lot of cinema, a lot of movies and shows, the dads aren't really present, especially in like the Disney tradition that you look at. The dad's never there, and things like that. But the ones that do show up, those are the ones that I like. Like, for instance, we were just talking about it before. I wouldn't mind, Tim the Toolman Taylor. Just for the fact of, I would love to meet Tim Allen to begin with.
Yeah,
that would
cool.
just be an amazing thing. But being able to sit down with the 90s Tim Taylor, even though he is a buffoon in most of that show, but the fact of, he seems like he would be a very fun dad to be around.
Yeah. I would do Thomas Wayne.
Jeez.
Because
that goes dark.
because he's dead.
So that would be
So
why
you
would
want
to
to meet a dead guy.
No, well, he'd come back so we hang out. But I'd have him like teach me how to like, get like rich, and then I would have him explain to me all the research, like the technology and how to replicate it and like sell it. So I would essentially like, then I'd be Bruce Wayne,
And how to
so then I could be Batman.
No, I thought you wanted to learn how to have a son who was Batman.
No, I want to be Batman.
Okay, so you want to be Batman.
Look,
In which,
you don't like.
in which case, all you're going to be longing for is to meet Thomas and Martha Wayne.
Well, no, because I don't have the trauma. Because he's
Yeah,
not.
you will.
No,
I
because
mean,
he's
if-
not
if-
actually my dad.
But if you
But I get to
become
just, like, meet him.
Batman, then, or are you going to be another Batman?
I'm gonna be my Batman. I'm gonna be like Batman. I'm not gonna dress up as a bat and go fight people. I'm just gonna be like rich and like have a lot of women. Based on my experience talking to Thomas Wayne. Well, because the question wasn't what's a dad you want to be like. The question was what's a dad you want to talk to. That or I talk to Iron Man. No, I would talk to Iron Man's dad, and like and then I'd like develop like green energy and save the planet. Boom, high five, self five.
Okay.
Yeah, just pick like a dead rich dad and like get all their stuff.
Oh, is that how this works?
Yeah, because they're gonna have to once the conversation's over, they're gonna die again. Then you inherit their stuff.
No, because it's going to go to their sons.
Their sons don't exist.
Then what? Then they wouldn't be a dad.
Look, Jonathan, the question was, what's one fictional dad you'd like to talk to?
Right.
That means they have to be made real, not their son.
But if their son doesn't exist, they are not a dad, and so they technically
Jonathan,
that moots your point there.
Jonathan, you have to understand. We are bringing something from one fictional world into ours. If we don't draw the line of when they cross over at some point, both worlds will explode.
Actually, he has a point there.
So we have to draw the line at that one person and their property and finances.
You know who might be interesting to meet? One or more pharaohs. Like an actual Egyptian pharaoh. Have either of you seen The Prince of Egypt?
Love
Yes.
that movie. Oh my gosh.
There we go. Both pharaohs in that movie are dads.
You want to meet Ramses?
What was the guy before him? The
His
guy.
dad.
That's basically what it was.
Wait, I don't think. Did they?
I don't think they really mentioned his name.
They
No.
like might have said it once in
I think
passing.
it was voiced by Patrick Stewart.
Even in the Bible, they don't even.
They're
mention,
just like the father of Moses,
Yeah.
or like the pharaoh
yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the Bible, I don't even because Prince of Egypt is based
on the Bible.
off of off
Actually,
the
I guess,
Bible.
well, depending on how you interpret the Bible, that might not actually be fiction then. I mean, pharaohs did exist.
Well,
Yes.
no, specifically Ramses II existed during that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we know for a fact that there's some historical merit to the book of Exodus because around that time we have other writings that are like, yeah, Ramses.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
kind of,
okay.
yeah,
And Ramses' dad.
And Ramsey's dead. Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. Gordon.
Pharaoh.
Oh, that would actually be somebody I would like to meet as well.
Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay.
It's all like gross now. Though.
Gordon Ramesses. Somebody needs to make that
He
movie.
calls a plague down on you when you cook your food wrong.
Ra.
So, yeah.
it's an Egyptian god.
Yes.
The
Oh, Ra.
Egyptian
Yeah,
god
yeah.
Ra.
Yeah.
Raw.
Yeah.
Rah, rah, rah.
It's Ra. Anyway, so okay, well, so
Aladdin's dad.
didn't exist.
Oh, he
Prince
did in the
Ali?
third film.
Okay,
Never saw
that's
it.
not canon though.
It came straight from Disney.
Yeah, they don't count.
They don't sequels don't count. I mean, it would
Wait, no,
it would
I
have been a
don't-
direct to video.
I don't. Yeah, but the direct-to-video Disney movies, I think we can generally agree those don't count
Oh, okay.
as like canon to the stories. They're additions. Also, his dad was a jerk in the third movie.
Yeah,
I've never seen it, but wasn't he the king of thieves?
the King of
or
Thieves.
whatever?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
he'd be an interesting guy to talk to.
he'd teach you how to steal from people. Then you can get all that money that I'm getting from Mr. Wayne.
See,
But
I had a plan all along. I'm gonna steal the money from you after you talk to Mr. Wayne.
No, you won't.
Well, I have the King of Thieves on my side.
Well, I'm not going to tell you that I made all that money. I'm just going to like.
You're talking to Batman's dad. I'm talking to the King of Thieves.
Okay,
I mean,
Dave,
They
let
call
me-
him the King of Thieves
Let me
for a reason.
let me make you a deal. Let me make you a deal. Okay. What if I buy you like all new audio equipment and buy you a house with my Wayne money? You think we can call it even and you don't rob me at that point?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, good. See, this is the power of
He
Wayne
found
money.
my weakness.
Yeah.
Okay, see, now I know the this is going to come around full circle because you're going to get, Thomas Wayne's
Yep.
money.
Darn right.
You and Aladdin's dad are going to steal Thomas Wayne's money.
You're going to try.
Then you're going to need tools. That's where me and Tim Taylor come in.
Oh,
Yeah.
And we sell you tools to steal from him.
Yeah, well, so now that I know you guys are going to do that, I'm going to hire security and I'm going to tell them, if you see these guys, shoot them.
yeah, but you're gonna recruit Tim the Toolman Taylor onto your team. He's gonna end up setting something on fire.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have Drill Bit
Or-
Taylor on my team.
Which you are going to be, you're going to be like, yes, but I need the tool that he's using to make my job easier stealing from him.
Yes, from Batman's dad.
Yes.
Batman's dad.
See, it works full circle.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, where are we going with this show?
We were talking about dads.
Ask that
So we were
question.
talking about dads we would like to talk to in real life. We
Yes.
talked about good dads. Now let's talk about the worst dads in cinema.
Vader.
No, we've already addressed he's amazing. Him being if he was
Maybe Han Solo then. I mean, he's pretty absentee.
To be fair, I don't even think he didn't really realize he had a son.
yeah,
Well, neither
Leia's
did
the worst
Vader.
mom. Then.
No, Vader knew he did.
Well, not right away.
Well, yeah, not
It
right
wasn't
away,
until the
but-
Emperor's like, this child is the son of Anakin Skywalker, even though you're Anakin Skywalker, and his last name is Skywalker.
And then
So
and
we
then
should
Vader
have
had to
known
like
that already.
Vader had to like unschizo himself. He's like, "Who am I?"
The worst dads in cinema.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, we already talked
I mean,
about
Palpatine for sure.
we already talked about
No, because he gave his kids power.
Brady, dude.
Yeah, he was bad.
Brady did.
I don't. Again, I don't like the fact of, and I know it was during the 70s when the 70s was all, hippie cool, and it's like, peace, not war, and all this other kind of stuff like that. But it's like they took it to the extreme with him, because again, their kids will do so much bad stuff, and at the end of each episode, it
There's no
ends
real
with a hug
consequences,
and a hug and a smile, and let's go for ice cream, and it's
you
like
saying hippies just reminded me of another dad, Red Foreman.
Great dad.
Yes.
it was a good day.
I would love to meet him.
I don't think Red Foreman was a bad dad at all.
no,
A little harsh,
And that's
maybe,
n-
but good dad.
No, if I'd have brought him up soon, if I could have remembered, or if I'd have thought of him, I'd have brought him up sooner. But yeah, when you said hippies, I was like, I should have mentioned him. So I mentioned him.
Kitty
Okay.
Foreman is a great mom. Also, just wanted to say
Goodness.
that she's
She's
awesome.
also an alcoholic.
yes,
So, no, but oh crap! I just had I don't know if this is a Disney movie, but I don't know if this is one. I assume you guys have seen, but I don't know for sure. Treasure Planet.
yes,
The
I've seen
dad,
it.
the dad from
Haven't
Treasure
seen it.
Planet.
It is a Disney movie.
Yeah,
It's a very unpopular Disney movie.
it's one I watched a ton growing up.
Mhm.
But yeah, the dad from Treasure Planet, because like the movie opens with him like getting on a ship and like leaving his son as his son runs down to the dock, and he just never comes back. And so yeah, absentee. And then his son is like raised by a fat pirate, so it's kind of cool.
I also like the dad in Titan AE. It's you give me that look like you've never seen it either. It's
Titan what?
Titan AE. Stands for Titan After Earth. Stars Matt Damon. Basically, the Earth is attacked by an alien race called the Dredge, and it's about to be destroyed. So they are trying to get everybody off planet, and the dad, the main character's dad, built this giant ship called the Titan, that is capable of starting new life on any planet.
Wow.
Like it has like all the different DNA types from all of the animals, the different types of like plant based stuff like that. Basically, they could go to any planet and start an ecosystem with this ship. The dad only gets like 5 minutes of screen time, but the fact that he built this ship to save humanity and basically made it to where when his son gets older, he will be the one known for saving the human race is just, to me, that's cool, because the dad like went to all out extremes. We were talking about like the same thing like Marlon and things. He went to all out extremes to make sure that his son was safe and to save the human race later down the line. It's a really good movie. I would recommend watching it. A great soundtrack. It's one of those that just fell under the radar because I think it honestly it came out the same time as The Phantom Menace. And so
yep.
nobody really knew about it.
Yeah, how old was Matt Damon when this happened? Like 24, 25?
Somewhere around that. Yeah.
This is young Matt Damon.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a bad dad or a good dad, but I thought of another Disney dad, Zeus.
Disney
where's
Zeus,
he rank?
Disney Zeus is not as bad as actual Zeus. I'll say that. But Disney Zeus is kind of a tool.
I mean, actual Zeus would still be father to Hercules, so we could talk about him too.
Actual Zeus is a jerk. He's like making all the Greek gods, like all the Greek quote gods are horrible. They're just like us, except they're stronger and they have more arguments over dumb stuff.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of the point of Greek mythology, is to be able to relate to,
Yeah, you can relate to the gods, but you can't like look up to them for anything other than their abilities because they're all tools.
Well,
Imagine worshiping someone that like would just kill you for a bet with their brother.
I mean, but
Screw
that was the
that.
thing. It was the
I mean,
whole.
wouldn't our God kind of do that too?
God doesn't have a brother.
I mean,
He did.
he has an adversary,
What?
sort of.
Yeah. Half brother. But he did have a brother
What are you referring to?
in the Bible. I believe it's Luke.
You're talking about Christ in the incarnation.
Yes.
Yeah, according to
He
his
did
humanity.
have a half brother.
Yes, according to his humanity,
Mhm.
but not according to his divinity. And actually, if it is referring to one of Jesus' brothers, then he still has a brother because his brother is probably not in hell.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, you know.
But what I mean-
actually, I think he had two because I know he had.
but-
one of them was named James, I believe.
Yeah, he had half brothers, and then he had cousins. But I'm referring specifically to
Particularly John the Baptist.
Yeah, I'm referring to in eternity past. It's not like the Mormon idea of like, oh, God is part of a family and he has
well,
brothers
yeah.
and a granddad.
Yeah.
But most people don't like. I don't know. Most people wouldn't think of it in the incarnational sense like that.
No.
They think just generically God, like the Judeo-Christian deity.
Mhm.
So when you said like brother, I'm like, what?
Well, if you go into, and I know we're getting off topic again, but if you go into like the Mormon tradition, I think was it Mormon or Jehovah's Witness, they actually believe that God and Satan were brothers.
Yeah, so they say that the Father and the Son do not have the same essence, and that the Son, that Jesus, the pre-incarnate Christ, and Satan are brothers, because God had intercourse with spirit women and then made them because they just make stuff up. Actually,
Yes.
yeah, like literally.
That's starting to sound more like Zeus, actually.
Well, so Mormonism is actually polytheistic. It actually is. So they don't technically in practice they don't pray to those other gods, but in Mormon theology, God became a god by obeying his God, and then his God gave him this planet. And if we are obedient to our God, then we will become our own gods and have our own planet. So
That's
there's
not complicated
so,
at all.
So they believe in an infinite chain of higher and higher gods. So our God is just the most recent in an infinitely regressing
So
chain.
it's a God pyramid scheme.
It is a God
Yes.
pyramid scheme, and our God, their God, not my God, but their view of God is that the one we worship is the weakest one.
Yeah.
How stupid is that?
Yeah.
You're worshiping the like 18 quadrillionth in the chain.
Yeah. That's what they believe. It's so weird. But I think if you know, and I think if we can go into, and it kind of carries on into another one because I have to be careful how I say this because I almost said like if there's one father that I would love to meet, would be God. I mean,
Sure.
obviously, and you know, just being able to sit down with God and be able to actually just like listen to him or even just be near him,
Someday.
you know, someday. But I had to be careful with that because we were talking about like fictional dads, and then we started talking about God, and I'm like,
See, I would actually want to meet more fictional representations of God, like Morgan Freeman,
That's
for instance.
interesting. That's an interesting take. Fictional representations of God.
Well,
yeah,
they exist.
they do.
yeah,
Many of them, I believe.
We just described one.
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm not, if there's
But
any,
like in popular culture, not.
yeah. Well, you know what? Prince of Egypt.
Very true.
All right.
Or I don't know. Like, what would be a fictional depiction of God that is like outside the norm, like outside of the generic? Like I can't think
The
of
one that comes to mind, and it's funny because we kind of made mention of the Prince of Egypt, is the Exodus movie with Christian Bale, When
That's a good
they
movie.
talk about it is a decent movie. When they mention God, or when God is brought into character, he's brought in as a child, which I thought was interesting in a way, because it almost played it into the point of where they talk about like having the faith of a child, and you have to be able to understand like a child, that type of thing. And it kind of does make mention into that a little bit. But at the same time, it made their version of God as a prepubescent punk.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah.
like
He's like, I want to kill them.
Yeah,
It's like-
basically, yeah. He was so mad at the children of Israel that he wanted to, like, spyglass on an anthill, just basically wanted to just burn them all up and wipe them out. And
yeah, it definitely leaves like a weird image in your mouth where you're like, wait, why is God being played by the kid from Ender's Game?
yeah,
Why is there an image in your mouth?
that is true too. You did say.
Wait, I'm sorry. What did I
You did
say?
yeah, you said it puts an image in your mouth.
Okay.
Leaves a bad image in your mouth.
Wow, that's like
I think you
don't
either-
read into that. That's a weird statement. I don't even know what that means.
All right, well, carrying on just a little bit more, and we will talk about our actual fathers here in a moment. But getting into the reality of it, what is one father, like one historical father, that you would love to be able to meet or even just observe? Like if you could go back in time and just observe somebody, who would it be?
That's a good question.
I would say Emperor Justinian. He was one of the Byzantine emperors, and he took the legal system of Rome and he essentially condensed it down into 3 books so the average man would be able to read it. And then he also retook half the empire that had fallen away. So like the West got wrecked and he took it back. Another guy after him lost it, which sucks. But he like took it back and he fixed their economy. And he essentially took it from a failing empire to a flourishing empire, doubled in size, and set up to do well in the years to come. And then the guy after him just ruined it. But I'd be interested in how he restored that, because we are currently in a declining society, and so it'd be interesting to see what he would view as a way to improve societies that are collapsing.
Okay.
So I don't know.
No, it's a good one. I mean, it's something to think about there. This is going to sound really dark, and I know it is dark. And carrying on with the actual conversation again of like the Prince of Egypt and the pharaohs and stuff like that. As dark as it's going to sound, I would like to observe the pharaoh at the time of the Exodus. And the reason why is he is known as a good father. He cared a lot about his son, at that time, but also he took it for granted almost, because pharaohs believed that they would live forever and that their children would flourish and that their children would live forever. And this is going to sound bad, but watching the reaction after, the people that know about the Exodus, the events in the Exodus, you had the 9 traditional plagues, then you had the 10th one, which was death of the firstborn. When his son died, seeing the reaction of knowing that he is a mortal, that he's not immortal, that he's not, he's not beyond death at that moment. And I know that sucks because, a man lost his child, but
that's
that
very
was
interesting.
that was the breaking point where he was, it took him getting to that point to finally just say like, all right, your God is real. Go, please, just go. And it sucks because no parent, especially no father, wants to lose their children. But
I think what's interesting you more is not the loss of the child here, but the fact that a man's entire worldview is being completely turned upside down. Like,
Yes.
how do any of us react to something like that?
Yes.
I don't think any of us have really experienced that.
Right.
Like, this man, everything this man has believed in up to this point in his life has just been proven beyond the shadow of a doubt wrong.
right.
No question.
Right.
Like, how does anyone process that?
Yeah. And it almost brings that humility back down of I'm a man. It's like I literally just lost my lineage. I mean, and it doesn't really mention, like, I know the Bible doesn't really mention if he had other children.
Sure.
But the death of the firstborn, which we know that was the firstborn, and even if you take it into the somewhat the Prince of Egypt type, that was his only child. And that's what it's believed, even throughout history. That's what it's believed, is that was his only child, that was his only lineage, and he just came to the realization, like what Dave said, that his entire future with the kingdom of Egypt is just
Gone.
Yeah.
It's done for now. So I think that would be interesting to be able to go back and be able to observe that at some point.
Yeah.
So I have a dark one as well. It's
It's a dark episode, y'all.
yeah. Oh, you guys are gonna I want to observe Hitler's dad and see how he parents his child.
Wow.
I want to know if it's an environmental thing or if the man was just insane. I want to know what led to what we all know happened. As a study, I suppose. Academically, I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with Hitler, and I'm not very aware about his childhood, but he does say a lot about Mein Kampf about like the war changing him. Because he was a NCO, like a non-commissioned officer in World War I for the Austrian Empire.
Yep.
And so, and if you know much about the Austrian fighting in World War I, they lost most battles by a lot.
Yeah.
And so like there's a story of, the story of like the soldiers going over the top on Christmas.
Yeah.
Like during World War I. So that happened one Christmas. There was an armistice, and the soldiers went over and played basketball and stuff, or football and stuff. And Hitler didn't let his soldiers go over under penalty of death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the war definitely changed him. And then his anti-Semitism was just anti-Semitism was really popular at the time, also in Russia and also in England. And it was kind of like you take anger plus the radical ideas of the time with a man who was good at speeches and you get Hitler. So, but I'd be also interested in seeing his childhood.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I know that there's a lot of books, and studies about Hitler, but you really only hear about it at, the halfway point of World War I.
Yeah.
Up until his death. It never really goes back into a whole lot. I mean, it does kind of, there are times where it does kind of mention his parents, but you don't hear anything else. And I know back then too, Germany was very well, unfortunately, it's just like America is now, where if the political leaders, if they didn't want you knowing anything about it, they literally just would destroy history records to keep people from knowing, what happened. Or
that is what
like
fascist regimes do.
And so, yeah, I mean, that would be interesting there too.
Yeah.
Well, what if his dad was really good? What if his dad is one of the best dads in history?
And that's
you
the
don't
thing,
know.
you never
You don't
really
know. You don't know.
You never really do. I mean, again, you could just read books on books of his, lineage and of his history, but
I don't know much about Hitler's
you're not
childhood.
you're not gonna know a whole lot about
Yeah.
it.
It would be very interesting to see that man's
Now,
upbringing.
now we have something to look up when we get home and research.
I do know that, you know, and as crazy as this is, I do know that a lot of children looked up to Hitler at that time
Oh boy.
as a
Yep.
as a father figure.
Hitler was a hero until he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reason why you had so many, you know, well, one reason why you had so many, what was it, the Nazi youth,
Kindersoldaten.
because, yes, they did kind of, once you reached a certain age, which I think was like 14, you were automatically drafted into the German army at that time because they were losing soldiers right and left.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing about the soldiers. That's the thing about the Germans and even the Austrian military during World War One is the reason why they lost by so much is because instead of having like an actual battle scheme, they were just like, we've got numbers, go. And they would just continue to throw people, you know, to throw soldiers at them.
That sounds like if you guys know Futurama, that sounds like a Zap Brannigan battle plan right there. It really does. I believe there are references to similar things in the show.
You know, there was, I don't know if I've talked to you guys about this before, but a general I can't stand is Robert E. Lee. Not because of his side, but we're talking pure tactics, okay? His generals, a lot of the generals during the Civil War on the South were phenomenal generals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, Ironside, was it Ironside?
Mhm.
Right? Ironside, and then
yeah, it's Stonewall Jackson.
Stonewall Jackson. And
That's a man I would love to meet too.
I'm forgetting his like second or third in command. Longstreet, very good general. And Lee was a decent general fighting a defensive war. But at the Battle of Gettysburg, he's like, they will break in the center.
Mm-hmm.
No army has done that in the history of ever. You try to flank and outmaneuver and get to higher ground and blah, blah, blah. And this man's like, nah, we're going to do a mad lad dash in the middle. And they got wrecked by grape shot.
Well, and see, the thing about that is, and I know we're kind of off topic again, but the thing about that one, being from the South, you learn a lot of like Southern history and stuff like that, is Lee had the idea that, you know, Grant and all of them knew about the whole flanking and stuff like that.
So they'd be on the
So
side.
it would
Yeah.
be like, you know, they're expecting this. We're going to do this.
Sure.
And unfortunately, you know, it didn't work out because as they started coming up the middle, then the northern armies that were doing the flanking was like, converge. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, you know,
a lot of his generals were like, well, we're in the lead now. Let's go home.
Mhm.
And he's like, no, like he didn't listen to his generals. But yeah, I don't know why I was thinking about generals.
because we were talking about Hitler.
Oh, Hitler,
being
yeah.
officer. No, Stonewall Jackson would be a good man that I would like to meet as well.
Yeah.
That
sucks the way he went out.
that man, yeah.
Was he a dad?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
He was a father.
There you go.
He was also,
And I believe I actually believe his son fought under him.
I don't know.
I think he was commissioned under him.
He was one of the few people in the South who wasn't a Baptist. He was actually a Presbyterian.
Yep.
Which is very interesting.
Yep.
I don't know if he was a minister, but I knew he was a theologian.
Yeah, he was.
He actually was a Presbyterian theologian.
Yes.
So.
No, he was not a minister. But yeah, the man prayed over the battlefield before every battle, after every battle. The man also was just like what they say. You know, he was a Stonewall. So many times, you know, he would just sit there, and most of the time, he was praying over his soldiers as the battle was going on, and he was unmovable. That's the reason, you know, he got the nickname Stonewall Jackson, because, you know, there was a certain battle, and I can't remember exactly which one it was at the moment, where he ended up having like 2 horses shot out from underneath him, and he would get on another horse and he would just sit. Like he never rode off. He never,
What a
you know,
Chad.
because his belief was, if the men start to see their officers running for cover, then it's going to cause his soldiers to lose hope. And so as long as he was unmovable, the resolve of his soldiers was unmovable.
So I know this is a little off topic. So
like
I'll keep
anything
it,
else in
I'll
this
keep
show.
it. Yeah. So I'll keep this brief. But so there's this Capuchin monk who led a crusade. Okay, and he went like he was kind of an older guy, like in his late 50s, early 60s. You know, so this guy led this crusade as a monk because they reached out to all these kings and they were like, hey, we need soldiers for this crusade, and they were like, no, we're fighting our own battles. So he just like got all these like lay people together from Italy with like pitchforks and like, you know, he got a few soldiers obviously, but they just went and they like beat off this shut up. You guys are immature. They fended off a Muslim incursion, and everyone was terrified of the Turks. But what this guy did is he would always run to like the front of the battle lines and like run up and down with his banner of the cross. And he's like this old dude, and he's just like, God is on our side and blah blah blah. And like they didn't retreat. They were outnumbered, and they were able to fend off the larger force because the old man putting himself in danger and just like being there with them gave them confidence, you know? So it's kind of that thing of...
There's a lot to be said for leading by example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's part of fatherhood.
Yeah.
Being a father is leading by example.
Oh, hey, he brought it back.
Because
Yeah.
you
Bring it
can't...
back.
Well, because you can't okay, let's put it this way. You can't tell your kid like, stand and be confident facing this world if you can't.
If you're Marlon.
Yeah, if you're Marlon and you're a little wuss, you know... then you can't, you know, your kids are going to die. But if
Now,
you're a
you know who stands
boss,
confidently is Darth Vader.
Darth Vader, yeah.
And I just thought about it too as another dad that would be great. And I know he's known more for his war abilities than anything else, but King David,
Yep.
I think would be a great father to be able to watch at that point. Even though he messed up, like he messed up a lot. He was not above reproach. Even when his son tried to kill him, instead of lashing out, what did he do? He wept for his son. Even when Absalom died, he wept for him. He actually like broke down and wouldn't eat. Like he was forced to eat. He was forced to sleep. He was forced to drink water. He was forced to do just about everything because he went into such a deep depression. Here is your son that is literally out to kill you and steal your kingdom. And you, instead of being like most fathers during that time, cares more about the kingdom than his own family, he actually was willing to lose everything to gain his son back.
So, Dave, do you know how Absalom died?
No, what?
So, Absalom had very, very long, effeminate hair, and he was very proud of his hair, and he was known as like a handsome prince,
Yes.
right? With the length of his hair. And he was riding on horseback, and it got caught in a tree during a battle.
Yes. No, actually not even during a battle.
Was it not during a battle?
No, he was just riding.
He was riding. His hair got caught in a tree, and one of David's commanders or one of his generals stabbed him while he was stuck in the tree.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I think that imagery shows that like the thing you are most proud of and
Can be your
arrogant of
downfall.
will be your downfall.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
I mean, you think of Solomon, where Solomon was, he was wise, he was very rich, and he let that get to him. He was a ladies' man.
Sure. Isn't he the one who wants to cut babies in half?
well, no, he didn't want
It was to prove a
he
point.
knew that they
okay?
wouldn't do that.
Yes.
The point is he's wise.
Yes, he was wise. Okay, so moving into the last part of this topic, what is something, and if you guys want to talk about it, what is something that your dad has instilled in you? We are all adults.
You sure about that?
well, okay.
Guys,
Physically,
I've been adult for like 3-4 years now. This is
physically we are all
ridiculous.
adults. Mentally, that is still up in question.
You guys are acting like that. Does not only apply to me.
No,
okay?
I'm not saying you.
I'm just stating that.
But we are all adults. What is something that our dads or a father figure has instilled into you? I'll go first for that work ethic. I know that there are times where I may not be like the greatest worker that's there, at our company, but my dad has taught me everything that I know about what we do. And he's also taught me not to give up at the first sign of trouble. My dad has I've watched my dad throughout the years, come into an adversity and more or less just take it head on. And, when something, he wasn't afraid to ask for help, but it was after he tried everything that he could to do what was necessary first. That's something that I'll never forget. It's like I remember, and I'm not going to go into it because I can remember stories upon stories of, my childhood with my dad. But the one thing that I admire the most about him was his resolve as far as we're going to get things done and we're going to do it the right way. My dad was not one of those that's like, go do this because I tell you to. It's no, he showed us how to do it, and that stuck with me. Whether it was working on the machines that we work on, whether it was taking care of stuff around the house, and whether it was raising our children, we were taught the right way to do things, not just do it because this is what I say. My dad led by example. Let's put it that way. So that's something that I remember and that I'm very grateful for my dad.
Yeah, mine is my dad. My dad was a very patient man. I think to raise me, he would have had to be.
Most dads have to be.
Right, yeah. But that's something that stood out to me, and he just exemplified patience. I mean, and grace, and like, I'll keep this really brief, but there was a time where I essentially broke into the house because I didn't have a key, and he always wanted me to have a key on me because I was old enough to have had a key and be responsible, right? And I didn't have the key, so I broke into the house through his bedroom window, which is upstairs. So I had to climb the back of the house.
Oh, goodness.
And he's like, so did you break in through my window? I'm like, no, because I'm an idiot. And then he took me outside, and he's like, so whose shoe print is that on the side of the house? And I was like, it's not mine. He just like laughed at me. And I remember that because it's like, I should have been grounded. But he was just like, he didn't care. Like it was just, for him, it was like, he was showing me mercy even in that little thing. And, him just like laughing off some of the things that, maybe I should have been punished for, but that, that thing of like forgiveness and patience just kind of stuck with me. So, and I hope to exemplify that someday, but right now I can't because I'm not mature enough.
You're also not married and have a child.
Not yet.
So, I don't take after my dad that well, but I guess if there's one thing I remember him for, he's still alive. So if there's one thing I remember that is a trait I've kind of adopted, it's like, let's get this done now. Like, okay, this is going to suck. We know we have to do it. Let's just do it. Let's get it done so we don't have to worry about it later. So in a lot of ways, I try to be like that. Like, oh, I know I'm going to have to pay this money to fix this thing. Let's fix it now before it becomes a bigger problem. It sucks because it's going to drain my bank account, but let's just get it done.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotta get an oil change. Just thinking about that.
That,
Like,
that
dang
reminds me, I actually do need an oil change.
All right. So really quick, favorite story about your dad? Can you guys think of anything? I've got one in mind. I just want to tell it because it's something that I will never, ever forget with my dad. So while I'm saying it, you guys think of one too. So as we were growing up, we loved to go camping. We loved to go fishing. Me and my dad spent, many times midnight. We would go out. We would go night fishing. Great time to catch catfish when you're down south. Of course, up here, it's the whole throwback type thing. What you got to catch and release type stuff. Yeah. Down there, no, you catch it, you eat it. So I just remember that going, doing that with my dad. But we'd go camping all the time, and we went this one particular time to our campsite, and we went to go find bait to go fishing. Me and my dad wanted to go fishing, could not find any at all. Like, for some reason, we could not find crickets because we use crickets for bait. It works better down south than worms do. So me and my dad, we were upset because we really wanted to go fishing. So we got the idea. We were walking down to the river, and we came across this field, kind of like grown up grass type thing. And we got to looking, and there were grasshoppers and locusts and stuff just flying all over the place. So me and my dad, actually, we got a stick, a piece, like a, I don't know, like a rod, 4 feet long or whatever. And what we did is we literally would walk through the grass, and as a grasshopper or a locust or cricket, whatever, would fly up, we'd hit it with a stick. And that's how we got all of our bait.
Nice.
We spent a couple of hours doing that, and I tell you that me and my dad had the most fun actually catching the bait than going fishing, because when we went fishing, we caught absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. But it was just the moment of getting up to that point was absolutely the best thing, and it's something that I will never, ever forget growing up. So, yeah.
Yeah. This is one from when I was pretty young, but I remember it just because I thought it was funny at the time. And people always kept retelling me the story, so I was never able to forget it. So it's kind of nice to have something like that. But I was like really little, like 6 or 7. And, I asked my dad, what do you do if a bug goes up your nose? I'm in the back of the car, right? And we're driving to South Carolina. So he's like really tired. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do if a bug goes up your nose. And I'm like, oh, never mind. It came out of my mouth. And he just died laughing. It's like a really small thing. But I don't know. I like that memory. There might be something else that's more meaningful, but that's just what came to mind.
Hey.
So.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm racking my brain. I'll think of it after we leave. After I stop the recording and we walk out, I'll be like, oh, I should have told that story.
That's all right.
I'm bad at thinking of things on the spot.
No, that's okay. Well, this has not turned out the way we expected it to.
No.
We did not go into the topic that we essentially wanted to.
We still went for an hour and a half.
The next episode, we will get into the topic of not doing the things that we want to do,
unless we don't want to.
Unless we don't want to. But here's something that's interesting, guys, and I don't know if this this wasn't planned for me. So Noah, you're the one who brought up this whole father thing.
Okay.
When this episode gets released, will be the Thursday after Father's Day. So I will say Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers that are out there. Obviously,
including you, Jonathan.
Good job, John.
Thank you. Without fathers, we wouldn't be here. Obviously,
I would.
Why were you immaculately concepted?
No.
Okay. So again, Happy Father's Day. I thought that was really interesting as we were sitting there talking about it all. I kind of like looked it up. I was like,
Oh.
this works out perfect.
Oh.
So, again, totally not what we expected to do, but I think it turned out okay.
I do too.
We'll be slightly more serious next time.
Yes,
just slightly.
Yeah,
we won't
very-
bring up as
very
much Star
slightly.
Wars.
Oh, we'll bring up Star Wars.
Star Wars will happen.
Not as much though. It's always going to happen.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. This has been, an interesting episode. We look forward to hearing back from you guys. Let us know what you think. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. My name is John.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Noah.
Have a great night.